Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to go over some drops and kind of what to do and what not to do. There's a lot of how to drop videos out there, but I just want to show you a couple of techniques and things and really drive home this concept that you shouldn't really be doing drops unless you're absolutely ready for them. Unfortunately, our weather's been kind of so I haven't gotten out to show you my little curb practice trick that I want to show you, but I will do that video here within the next few days, I hope, because I want to go over how you can work on using a curb to learn how to drop long before you take it to this level that I'm going to show you here in a minute. So in Cuyuna, there's these two different drop levels, the smaller one and the higher one. And so I'm just going to show you some things here about how I do drops. So here I just do a basic everyday drop. And the smaller drop, that's what it looks like. On this one, I purposefully didn't pull up on the front end. And if you see what happens, the nose dives right away. You can see how the front wheel drops right as it comes off the boards. Let's compare that to what it looks like if I give a little tug on the front wheel. So on this one, it's important to notice that the front wheel actually is up and out away from the board. It's not dropping right away like we saw in the previous one. So let's compare with the previous one. So if you just ride off, your front wheel is going to dive like this, and that is not a desired effect. You need to definitely pull up a little bit on the front end to keep the bike level as you come off the drop. This is extremely important. I see a lot of people that go over the bars because they just ride off assuming that, gravity doesn't exist or something weird like that, because the first thing that's going to happen when you roll off of a drop is your front wheel is going to go down. It's going to get pulled down by gravity. So you need to counteract that with a little bit of pull on the front end of the bike. So here I'm going to do the pull on the front end as I drop in slow motion. See how my front wheel comes straight out off the board. It doesn't drop right away. That is extremely important for doing drops safely. So don't just go riding off drops without knowing what you're doing, because you're going to end up going over to the bars and getting hurt. Okay, so we're going to watch this again in slow motion, and then we're going to pause it right here where my front wheel comes off. This is that just nice, light, gentle pull that you want to do. And then from here, you want to roll off and have your eyes looking down at your landing. You don't want to be looking down by your front tire. You want to be looking at your landing and where you need to go. And then you can see here that as I continue, my bike all of a sudden starts to angle for the landing, like right away. So I have quite a ways to go before the landing, but I'm already angled to land. And then you can see that it's a nice smooth landing. So this is what you want. Just a nice smooth landing, matching your bike up with the downside so you don't land front end heavy or back wheel heavy. It's perfect if you land both wheels at the same time. You can get away with it being a little front end heavy and a little back end heavy, but ideally you want both wheels at the same time. So if we go back to where I came off the drop, notice how my arms are straight. What I'm doing is I'm actually pointing the bike forward. My knees are bent, so I'm allowing the back wheel to stay up, and I'm pointing the arms forward and down to where my landing needs to be. So I'm allowing the bike to basically angle for the landing, versus like if I was pulling really hard on the front end, or I continued to pull on the front end, the bike would be level, or it might even be front wheel high at this point. And you really don't want that, because that would cause a loop out where you land back wheel first and you could fall backwards off the bike. You really want to angle the bike down, but you also don't want the front end to nosedive and drop more. So you want your weight shifted back and you want your knees bent, kind of absorbing the back wheel, and that way you can kind of control the whole pitch of the bike. If you want the bike to come down more rear wheel, you can straighten your legs a little bit. Or if you want the bike to be steeper angled, you can suck up the back of the bike a little bit with your legs. So you have full control over the angle of the bike for the landing at this point. So let's watch the whole thing again. A little bit of pull, angle the bike, land. That's exactly what you want. Probably the ideal drop right there. So this is something you can practice. I highly suggest you learn how to ride off of a curb first, and by that I mean right off the curb by pulling on the front wheel and landing either both wheels at the same time or rear wheel first, and work on that strategy long before you take it to an actual drop like either one of these two, because that's the safest way to learn, is just find a curb in your neighborhood, ride off of it, pull up on the front end, and get kind of a feel of how much pull do you have to get off so your bike comes off the curbs level and doesn't land front wheel first. Okay, so that's what I call a wheelie drop, where you just lightly pull on the front end as you go off the drop. So this is the first time I'm actually using Premiere Pro. Like, I have this really nice, powerful software that I barely know how to use. So I'm learning how to do voiceover, which is right here. So hopefully this approach works for you. It's pretty cool. I'm learning a lot on how to do video editing, and I hope to get better and better at it as I continue. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about the hop drop, which is next. Now I'm going to talk about one of my other favorite kind of drops, the hop drop. So there it is in regular speed. Let's break it down. So here it is slowed down, and what you'll notice right here is I bunny hop. And then I give it a little tweak to the side and then land. So this is the hop drop. The question is, why would you ever do this? Well, I have a few reasons why I would do this. In this case, I'm doing it because I want to get a little style off of the drop. And in order to do that, if I hop, I can then tweak the bike to the side, something I do all the time whenever I'm jumping or doing something like that. So aside from just doing it to get style, what if there was a raised surface at the end of the drop? If that was the case, then you would want to hop over that, because if you were trying to just do the standard pull up your front wheel drop, as soon as your back wheel got to that raised surface, it would make your front wheel nosedive. So if the drop is uneven or there's a little lip or raised surface at the end, it's important to know how to hop drop. There are, however, some prerequisites to doing the hop drop. You really want to know how to bunny hop really well. And again, you can use a curb if you know how to bunny hop. Know how to bunny hop off of a curb and clear the curb so your back wheel doesn't tag the curb, because if you're doing a hop drop and you don't hop high enough or far enough and your back wheel tags the edge, again, that's going to cause you to nosedive. So don't try a hop drop unless you've already got the skills of knowing how to hop and do that sort of thing. This is a little bit more advanced move. The nice thing is if you are somebody that's new to drops but you know how to bunny hop, maybe you came from BMX or something like that, doing the hop drop is the safest way for you to learn how to go off drops, because you already have that bike control and that skill, and you can pop up the bike and make sure that you have that right angle and the control to make the landing. In BMX, a lot of times we do what we call gaps and things like that, where we're riding off ledges trying to clear things or whatever, and a lot of times that requires, if you want to clear something, that you bunny hop. Well, this is kind of the same concept as that. So if you already have those skills, I actually recommend the hop drop for people who are new to mountain biking, but maybe have a BMX background, or maybe they've been mountain biking a while and just have never gotten to do a drop, but they know how to bunny hop and all that other stuff. So, yep, not to get too overcomplicated about it, but the hop drop is really fun. I like it. It's not a required skill, but I do recommend learning it because it adds a little bit more fun to your drop. So here it is again in slow motion. As I approach, I pop the bike up, do a little steeze, then land, riding away. So one of the things I really like about the hop drop, especially for those of us that are experienced with hopping, is I'm taking full control of the bike the moment I hop. I'm not letting the drop or the plank itself to control when my front wheel drops or anything like that. By me doing the bunny hop, because I bunny hop all the time, I have full control over the pitch and all the stuff with the bike because I do bunny hops all the time, or when I'm jumping, it's all the same motions and things like that. So it's something I'm just a lot more familiar with, and I can trust that I have a handle on the bike versus just rolling off of something, giving a little pull on the front wheel. There's always that little risk. Maybe I pulled a little too hard. Maybe I didn't pull enough. Maybe I'm not going far enough, things like that. When I do a hop, I know absolutely for sure what the bike is going to do because I'm taking control of it. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. But for some of you, you might really prefer the hop drop for that very reason. So in this case, I'm taking control of the bike and then I'm doing a little bit of tweak to the size or steeds, whatever you want to call it, just having a little fun out of it. And if I just rolled off the end, it's a lot harder for me to like tweak the bike to the side. Yeah, you can do it, but by doing the hop, I have full control and can just tweak the bike how I want to, add a little style, things like that. So while I was filming, there was a woman that rode up to the smaller drop here, and she looked like she really wanted to take it, but she was a little uncertain. So I gave her a few pointers, and then she was like, "Yeah, okay, that sounds good." And she looked experienced enough, so I trusted that she could do it. And then asked her if I could tow her in. So if you ever are doing a drop for the first time, even if you've done other drops, but you're doing a new one that has a different, like how far you have to go, like a different gap size or things like that, it's a really good idea to find somebody to tow you in so they can kind of give you the appropriate speed for the drop, because if you just go it blind you might go too fast or too slow or something like that. So find somebody experienced and have them tow you in, and that's exactly what I did here. And it was pretty cool because she pulled this off perfectly for the first time doing it. You'll notice that she was a little front end heavy, but she did pull up on the front wheel, and that is key. So let's go back and look at her front wheel coming off the board, and you'll see that she pulled up on the front end. So this is key right here. Her wheel goes straight off the end. It didn't nosedive right away, so she gave it just enough pull so she wouldn't nosedive. And even though she landed a little front wheel heavy, that was fine. It wasn't nearly enough to like send her over the bars or anything like that. But for a first time drop, she did excellent here. I was like super impressed and super stoked that she just went for it and landed it really well. And after this, I saw her as I was like trying to figure out filming in slow motion and stuff. She took this like two or three more times and was having a good time. So it was like it just took this one little bit of advice to pull up on the front end and me towing her in for her to just all of a sudden get it, and then she was just jumping it a bunch of times. So that was super cool. I love teaching people, I love helping people out and things like that. So anytime I can see somebody else progress, it makes me excited. So let's watch this towing in full speed. Okay, there you have it. Those are the drops I did up in Cuyuna, just a little how-to using some new tools. I know it's not perfect, but it actually, you can tell it took me a couple of days to do this, because notice how I'm wearing different clothes today than I was in the filming earlier. So yeah, it's kind of fun playing with Premiere Pro and learning how to use all these tools and doing the voiceover and stuff. And the more I do it, the better I'll get at it. And there's a lot of powerful tools to this software editing program. So I hope you liked this video. I will do more of this, and the more I do it, the better I get. Pretty much my channel in a nutshell is I just put my stuff out there and learn as I go. I feel like that's the best way to do it. Anyway, really appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.